Well, the research project is basically about we deal with like kids in the Weston Mount Dennis area who go to school in this area, who live in this area, and the whole purpose of the research is to see how like high schoolers select courses, and same for parents, um, and it's just trying to see how what are the factors that like go into what makes kids select certain courses, what makes them pick certain levels like academic, applied, locally developed, like what makes them pick those, and all of that.
Basically, the young people were telling me that they were just choosing courses around their peers. They didn't have the much support at home. Um, they were basically just choosing the easy courses because they just wanted to skim through it. Like they felt like they spent a whole 8 years in elementary school, and to go into high school, they were a lot of them were scared of like the challenges that they would face. So a lot of them chose the easy way out, which was choosing either applied, or even a couple of the students I know chose essential. If they had a choice, they'd even choose essential, right? And if it wasn't for the teachers intervening and saying, "Listen, you're not at the essential level," they would have probably took essential. So I feel like students were taking the easy way out. Um, they weren't educated and what like they weren't given the history around the courses that they were taking, the levels and what the levels meant, and what it could end, where it could end up taking you. So I feel like a lot of students were basically telling me like they weren't getting as much support as they needed, and they were basically misinformed of what they were taking.
Well, when I was in grade 9 starting out at Weston, I was in all applied courses. This was just kind of the way that my teacher from grade 8 had me going. So I didn't question it. I just decided to go into it. And it wasn't until after grade 9 that my English teacher told me that I should switch some of my subjects.
Streaming in education. Now, from my perspective, I found out where streaming was actually taking place because we were not aware of it until I started seeing the level of the students that we actually take into the university itself. And so I wanted to see what happened to those young men and women who didn't come to university. And my first connection to streaming was when I was asked by a friend of mine to do a presentation through the organization that we formed, to do a presentation on skills or careers alternatives to young people. And when I did this presentation, I realized I was under the assumption it was only academic and applied courses in school. But then when I got there and I realized they were talking about IP programs, and I said, what's an IP program? And they said, well, it's for those who cannot do the applied courses. And I said, so if you can't do the applied courses, what's the IP? He said, it's locally developed. And so that's when I started realizing there is something going on. Because nobody's failing school anymore. Everybody comes out of school, but the level that they're coming out with is not what industry can use. And this shows its face when we do training programs for young people in the community, and find out they got grade 11, but they couldn't do grade 5 maths. And so I realized there's an issue. And this is where we see it as in the industrial side of things, where we're not getting enough young people of color to come into these areas, especially the trades areas and also in engineering.
So basically,